what's up? Welcome back. If you're new here, hi, my name is Crystal. I put lifestyle fashion content out several times a week and I have no makeup on. So welcome back to Makeup Monday, you guys. I'm so excited about this new series. I'm loving it. And today's video is kind of a really niche video, but recently I was in Canada visiting some family and I picked up a ton of makeup from the drugstore there, which is pricey AF. And so I have all Canadian brands in this bag, so I thought it would be fun to do a first impressions full face of Canadian makeup. So while I'm unboxing, I'll tell you a little bit about the brands that I got. I got a lot from a brand called LISE WATIER. I was in Montreal, by the way, so you know, I am from Montreal originally, but I don't really buy makeup when I go, so you know. But so LISE WATIER, I believe, is based in Montreal. So I have a lot from that brand, mainly because they had products that looked really beautiful, but there was samples up for everything. And that's a really cool thing about the drugstores in Canada that I've seen, is that there's testers out for everything. So there's no like concern over buying a product and will that match me, because you can actually swatch everything at the drugstore there like it's a Sephora. So that's really cool. They also threw in a couple of samples for me, which I'll just leave. So I got mostly LISE WATIER stuff. I got a pencil from a brand called PUPA, more PUPA, and then mascara from a brand called ANNABELLE. There's another brand that they carry called Marcel. I didn't really see anything that I liked from that collection, so I just kind of passed over it. I also was not able to find primers and anything, so I'm going to be using my own primer. So I have the Too Faced Hangover RX that I'm going to be using as my base for the foundation. This is a good primer if you have oily skin, or if you want stuff to stick to you, or if you live in a hot climate. It's not a pore filling primer, but it's still pretty decent. I'm sure a lot of beauty gurus have talked about it. It's actually pretty hydrating as well. My primer is going to be the Pro Prime Smudge Proof eyeshadow base from NARS, which is great. I have oily lids and this really keeps the shadow on there. So the shadow that I got, I feel like I only got one. I'm gonna have to go back and like try and remember everything that I bought. I got a cream shadow, so for me it's especially important to put like a really good primer on. And I'm gonna start with the eyes as I normally do when I do my makeup, because I don't like to mess with the potential of fallout, and I don't like to put a lot of powder under my eyes either. So I don't like to do my foundation, do my concealer, do my powder, and then do my eyes and risk fallout, because I don't have enough, I don't put enough under my eyes to like whisk away. So I always start with my eyeshadow. So the eyeshadow I got is called Taupe Fantasia, and it's a cream product. This reminded me when I saw it in the store of the Chanel ombre something, I don't know, the expensive Chanel stuff, but this is what it looks like. It's a beautiful taupe color, really reflective. I'm not sure how pigmented this is, so I think I might put down a base. So I'm already cheating. How about that? We're 3 seconds in and I'm already cheating. So I'm gonna run into my Marc Jacobs palette and just pull out a transition color. I'm gonna use this guy right here. They did have a lot of like powder shadows, but I just didn't get it because everything, by the way, cost me $3.50 Canadian. So with the exchange, I think it came down to like $2.70, which I didn't think was that bad for an entire face basically of drugstore foundation, or I'm sorry, drugstore makeup. I'm kind of surprised just kind of overall how expensive everything is there. So my sister still lives in Canada, and while we were there, she's asking me about like a good drugstore foundation, and so I recommended, based on her skin type, to get the L'Oreal Pro Glow. And I think L'Oreal Pro Glow here is like, I don't know, 10 bucks or something, and it was like $17.99 or $18.99 or something. And I was like, for L'Oreal, but things are really expensive in Canada. Okay, so I'm grabbing the LISE WATIER product, and I'm going to take this Real Techniques brush. I love this brush for cream products. It's the shader brush that they have, and I'm going to start with the brush to see what the pigmentation's like, and then if I need to go with my finger, I will. I definitely did finger swatches in the store. And oh, that is super, okay, that is really moussey. I don't know how much is getting picked up on the brush, but like couple little dips, and like look, we made like a pretty good indentation. Looks like a lot of colors getting picked up on the brush though, so I'm gonna go and start applying this gently, and then we'll see kind of how it goes. I love these kind of products, so I really hope this works out nicely. Okay, that's pretty. That's already pretty. So it's definitely purpley in tone, and it blends out really nicely. It's not super pigmented right off the bat, but I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. It's definitely moussey. Like like I could pick up like a chunk of it on the brush. It's kind of gross. But I'm gonna keep applying it and try and get it to darken up a little bit. That's actually really beautiful. I really, really like that. I think the only thing is because it's so light, it needs to play against a darker crease color. So I'm gonna go into the Marc Jacobs palette again, and I'm just gonna pick up the last shade, this like, or second to last shade rather, this just dark brown, this dark kind of chocolatey brown, and I'm gonna pop that in the crease and in the outer third, just because I feel like, yeah, this needs something to play against. And I'm gonna pick up this pink brush right here, just take a little bit, and I'm gonna blend it in the edges just to darken it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little bit more and I'm gonna try and build it up. With that darker color, I think it's really gonna help. I think that's really pretty. I went in with my finger at the very end just to see if I can get a little more payoff, and I did. So I'm really, really loving this actually. I think it's gonna be really great on the lower lash line too. So I'm gonna set this brush aside because I'm gonna come back to it after I do my foundation. Okay, so the foundation that I picked out was also from LISE WATIER in the shade Beige Beige, which I thought was really, really funny. The packaging is beautiful and it reminds me of YSL. I'm gonna shake it up really, really well because I believe this is a water-based foundation, which is another reason why I chose the Too Faced Hangover foundation primer, because you want to mix like water with water. So if I had put on like a pore filling product, like say a Benefit Professional, it would have separated from this. So you want to try and make sure that you're matching your primers with your foundations, which I can talk about in more in depth in another video if you guys want me to. So I'm just going to shake this guy up, and then, but I want to show you the packaging before I put it on. Isn't that beautiful? I love the fade. It looks so expensive because it was. Our drugstore was expensive. It was like 30 something. But I've been hearing that a lot more companies are like, a lot more high-end companies are putting drugstore, putting their high-end products in drugstores, which I think is really crappy and kind of screws with the whole concept. Okay, so the dropper doesn't work. Like I can't seem to get any product out. I don't really know what's happening. Okay, so this sucks and this doesn't work at all. So I'm going to carefully hang on to it while I try and pour some foundation on the back of my hand. Because, oh, WTF. Like either they sold me an empty foundation bottle, which they didn't because stuff's coming out, or that I really hate these eyedropper things. I really wish companies would stop doing them. Not only do they make an actual mess everywhere, they're just usually, like 9 times out of 10 for me, a pain in the ass to use. So I have my damp beauty blender. I was able to get some foundation out on the back of my hand in the shade Beige Beige, super cute. And I'm just going to put it on. I also have some kooky brushes, but I feel like if it doesn't work with the beauty blender, I don't know. It's pretty thick and it should give really decent coverage. It looks like it does. Isn't that nice? That's really nice. Okay, okay. It's actually it's melting really nicely. I hope it doesn't oxidize. Because if it oxidizes, we're gonna end up with like a very different like face color versus like chest color. But I mean, first impression is pretty nice. You have no idea how long it wears or anything. But so far, so good. It's got a nice kind of satin matte finish as well, which is really cool. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with some concealer now. This is from the brand PUPA Milano. It is a cream cover concealer in the shade 01. And this is what it looks like. I think it's going to be, yeah, it's kind of weird. So it's got a hard applicator, but it's like also fuzzy. But let's scroll some out. Woo! That came flying out, but that's what that looks like. Packaging is nice, very luxe looking. I found all this stuff at a pharmacy called Jean Coutu. There's another, well, so basically a pharmacy, when I say pharmacy, it's kind of like a CVS or like a Walgreens basically. So there's two main brands in Quebec anyway. There's Jean Coutu and then there's Pharmaprix. Pharmaprix has different brands of Canadian-based makeup, but unfortunately, because I was in Canada like to visit family, I didn't have time to like go everywhere. So I just ran to Jean Coutu because my sister lives near one, and this is what we were able to find at like 10 o'clock at night. which was awesome. So I'm just putting it everywhere I want to conceal and highlight with. I have no idea what the coverage is gonna be like. I'm a little nervous. Not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous, but we all right. So I'm gonna let that sit because I like to put my concealer on and then kind of like let it sit and melt into the skin. So while that's doing that, I'm going to grab this pencil. This is like a LISE WATIER haul at this point, basically, because everything is, they just had so much stuff. I think that was one of the biggest things I saw just in Canada in general for aesthetic. When it comes to plus size fashion, there is none. I'm going to have a collective haul going up probably after this one, after this video, and you'll see that I went to a Chanel and I found one outfit. Like, there's just hardly any options for plus size clothing, and there's even less options for Canadian owned makeup companies. Thankfully they have Sephora, but they just recently got Sephora, so it's not something they've had like this whole time, which is very frustrating. So imagine a world where like you just don't have access to stuff. It just really, really sucks. So most of the Canadian brands just didn't have a lot of options. So I had to get most of the stuff from LISE WATIER because LISE WATIER seemed to have the biggest range of product. So, okay, so I'm going into this LISE WATIER pencil. Is it it's a brow. It's not a brow pencil. It's a little gel thingy. So it looks like the Benefit Gimme Brow. I got it in the shade Brunette. And I guess I'm gonna have like naturalish brows today because I didn't get a pencil. So it's not super precise in application, and it's definitely more of a natural finish. But that being said, I think for what it is, which is a brow gel, it's really great because I feel like the spoolie grabbed the hair really nicely. The color deposited great. I don't feel like it deposited too much color. And truth be told, if I were in my regular life, I would take like Anastasia pencil or something and just kind of fill in the empty spaces. So I feel like for what it is, it did a great job. The other thing I liked about this product and why I picked it up was on one side it has the brow gel, but on the other side it has a matte highlighter, which I always use under the brow to highlight, but also to kind of like hide mistakes. So I'm gonna go in and try this guy out and see what it's like. So right off the bat, I'm loving the color. It's pinky, but it's not too pinky. And it's got a round tip, which I like. Because it's matte, I felt like if this were more of a matte shadow look, or if I wanted a shiny highlight on the brow bone, I could definitely do that. So I'm just gonna use this to kind of like highlight around my brows, carve out my brows just a teensy bit. And I always take my finger and kind of blend it in. Okay, back to my beauty blender. I'm going to start working in that concealer. It's obviously really light. So I feel like there was only 3 shades. It was like 1, 2, and 3. 2 seemed like super medium, and then 3 was too dark. So I feel like for the under eye area, because I do like some brightness there, I felt like this was probably the best one to go with. It does seem a little too light, like a little lighter than I personally would like, because I'm getting so much brightness under here. But I did get a powder, so hopefully that will help like tone it down. But I do feel like if you're someone that likes a very aggressive highlight, that you might like this. Okay, so first impression, I'm loving the coverage. I really think this is beautiful. I'm getting such a highlighted look. Now that it's blended in, I feel like in the viewfinder it looks really dramatic, but in person it doesn't look as dramatic a highlight, which is really nice. I do feel like the skin is looking really poppin', really poppin'. So next I'm gonna go into the product I'm most terrified about. I saw this and I was like, I had to text Marissa, who's one of my best friends and a makeup artist, and I was like, how would one go about using this product? And she's like, girl, you on your own. Like, I have no idea. But she was able to give me a couple of ideas. So it's a bronzer in a tub, which is fine, right? Except that it's not a cream bronzer, it's a mousse bronzer. So like, look at that. Have you ever seen a bronzer like this before? And in the box, it comes with a spatula. So I guess the theory is scoop some out on the back of your hand, blend it in with a beauty blender. That's the route I'm gonna go. I don't know if that's the route you're supposed to go, but that's the route I'm going to go personally. So I'm gonna start by taking this stuff on the back of my hand. I'm just gonna like smush it out. I have no idea if a little goes a long way though. So I'm gonna start with what's on the back of my hand and then go from there. I'm gonna take my beauty blender, I'm gonna take the tush side, I'm gonna bounce it in there. I mean, it's a really pretty color. I think it's gonna give me like some really nice color. I just worry about application. Okay. So I'm using stippling motions to blend it in. It's actually a lot more subtle than I thought it was going to be. I don't know why when I saw it I was like, this is gonna be intense, but it's actually not that intense. You can't even really contour with it, so that's kind of cool. I always, by the way, work my bronzer and my foundation into the hair a little bit, because if you like have your hair back or something, the last thing you want is like color and then like white, you know, or just like a completely like drastic color, different color. I'm loving this, you guys. Holy crap. Okay, I'm going to set my under eye. I did pick up a powder from LISE WATIER. It is the shade Universal, so it's just a translucent white. The reason that it drew me in was because the feel of the powder felt like Makeup Forever, like the Makeup Forever HD setting powder. So I thought it would be cool to find a similar product from a Canadian-based company. So it's just, it looks like the packaging's even similar in the sense if you have the HD powder, which I don't have anywhere near me, you know, it's kind of, instead of having a sifter, it's kind of got a net that you can kind of push. And that's really cool. I always loved that about the packaging of the Makeup Forever one. So when I saw this, I was really excited. So I tend to use an eyeshadow brush to set my under eye concealer because I don't like a lot of powder, but I definitely obviously want some and need some to set everything. So this powder is really different than the other one. The Makeup Forever one is really great and I love it. This one almost has like a cold sensation. Like when I put it on, it feels like it's wet and like it's cooling my skin down. I know that sounds really strange, but that's just how I'm feeling. So I just thought I'd let you know I really like this powder. It's giving my skin a really, really pretty finish. Once I'm done with the rest of my makeup, I'll kind of go in and set it all with this again. But I just wanted to kind of get the under eye out of the way. Okay, so next step is, let's do highlighter next. This was really hard to find, you guys. I could not find anything at the drugstore there except for the Maybelline Chrome. I couldn't find a drugstore highlighter anywhere. So LISE WATIER had one. That's why this is like the LISE WATIER show. This is in the shade Gold. They had a pink one and a gold one. The pink one looked really cold and this gold one looks really nice. So it's just a highlighting stick. I'm just gonna pop it on and hopefully it won't take off my foundation underneath it. I think that's gorgeous already. Holy crap. Feeling it, feeling it. It's not as gold as like other highlighters I've used, but it's really pretty. So I'm gonna blend it in with my beauty blender. Okay, so it's not a blinding highlight, but it is super gorgeous. Super gorgeous. Isn't that pretty? I love that. So one of the things I like to do when I'm not wearing any makeup at all, on days where I'm like going to the gym or just running around or something, but I want to look good, I'll take a cream highlighter like this one, or I don't have, like this one from Milk is great, and then there's also one from Glacier, and I'll just put just highlight on and then I look like I'm glowing. Like I just look like super glowy, super pretty, and everyone's like, you're glowing, and I'm like, oh thanks, it's good. Oh, here's the Glacier one. I just have a little bit of this on. So I feel like this LISE WATIER Gold is gonna be something I reach for. Okay, on to blush. This is from PUPA. This is their Like a Doll Maxi Blush in the shade 103. That's boring. I like when they have like names. Oh yeah, so this is kind of like an earthy kind of russet shade. It's a little pink. I wanted something kind of neutral in tone, nothing too crazy. I love these kind of blush shades for the fall. This is a Sephora blush brush and it's really great. So I'm just gonna pick some of this up with my brush, tap off the excess because it looked like it picked up a crap ton of color, and we're gonna go in with a very light hand. And I'm popping that just kind of in between the bronzer and the highlight. So really beautiful color, like really beautiful color. I feel like even though it looked like it picked up a lot of color, it's not a very like aggressive color. So, okay, well it's pulling very aggressive on camera, but in person it's not that aggressive. And I do like with colors like this because they are more like natural earthy to kind of pull them back a little bit, and I'll even bring them up here just to kind of like warm up the face completely. I really love this color, you guys. Ooh! It's almost giving me contour vibes, like, okay. So now that we're set, I'm gonna put some all-nighter on. And a little trick for when you're doing your setting spray, you want to fan it and cool it as quickly as possible. That way it actually locks in your makeup and it doesn't move around. Okay, so now that my base is done, everything is done, there's a couple of little tweaks we have to do: eyes, lips, and under eye. So I think I'm gonna start with going back into my under eye. I always put color on my lower lash line because otherwise my eyes kind of get lost in there. So I'm going back into that LISE WATIER Taupe Fantasia color with my Real Techniques brush. I'm just gonna pick some up. And because it's a cream product, this is gonna blend so beautifully on the lower lash line. So I'm just gonna get real close to my mirror and get right in there. I am loving this eyeshadow. I'm loving it. I love how well it blends. I love how chromatic it is. You really, to build up the chromatic look, you really have to go in with your finger. But holy Moses, on the bottom of the lash line with a brush just blends out so gorgeous. I know that I'm kind of known for, in my signature aesthetic, is that bronzy eye, but I'm thinking this might be it for me for fall because this is like to die for. I'm obsessed. Out of everything, I think that's like my favorite product. Although the foundation is looking real good. I'm getting a little bit of like weirdness happening on the tip of my nose, but I think that might be from the highlighter more than anything else. Speaking of the highlighter, I'm gonna go in, get a little bit of my finger and do the inner corners of my eyes. I don't know that this is going to be bright enough. Yeah, that's bright enough. Just putting a little bit of the highlighter on my inner corner, right there. Getting a little crazy. I just think that's really pretty. Okay, so let's talk lips. So I got this lip pencil from PUPA. It's called True Lips in the shade 2. Really hate when coming to see that. What's weird about this is that it has a smudger brush on the end, which is really common in eye brushes but not in lip brushes. So my theory is probably that they want you to put this on and then blend it out so it looks like a lipstick. But I did get a lipstick, so I'm gonna use this to line my lips because I wanted to kind of check it out. And then I'll go in with the lipstick. So my initial thought on the lip liner is, while the color is beautiful, the blender seems really superfluous. This is not a creamy lip pencil by any stretch of the imagination. So I think that like blending it would be really difficult. So I don't know why that blender's there. Okay, so the lip liner's on. Will I reach for it again? Maybe. I think I have better ones from NYX that I like. The Peekaboo Neutral's better. I think for a Canadian brand, this is the only experience I have with a lip liner, and I think it's okay. I think it's very overpriced for what it is though, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. Where everything else has been like so great, I feel like this is just okay. Okay, so I went back to LISE WATIER for the lip because they had kind of a matte liquid lip style-y thing. So I got it in the shade Fashion Kiss. I hate the name of this color. I hate the name of all of their colors because it's always like Happy Kiss, Smiley Kiss, Fashion Kiss, Bougie. Like, I just name it something else. Please come up with a different name. But it is a berry kind of reddy, pretty lip color. It looks like a mousse in texture, so we'll find out how it wears. Oh, it's real dark. And a lot redder than I thought. I thought it was gonna be more purple. Ooh, okay, transfers nicely. Okay, so the color is beautiful. My application was leaves a little to be desired, to be fair. But I think it's a beautiful color. It's really, really lovely. It's very pigmented, it's very moussey. It's pretty matte. I don't think this is gonna dry down. I bet you it's gonna transfer. I'm gonna give it a couple minutes while I do my mascara, but I have a feeling this is gonna end up all over my hand, so I don't think this is gonna be one of those kiss proof, but it's super comfortable. It feels so nice and creamy, and the color is opaque. Beautiful, goes beautiful with the eyes, goes beautiful with the cheeks. I think I can see myself reaching for this a lot, actually. Just kind of surprised. It's just to die for. Okay, so the very last thing is this Annabelle mascara. I'm gonna curl my lashes and then I'll be back to apply. You guys, I just discovered the weirdest thing. So it said this was an expandable mascara and I didn't really care. I was like, okay, you were expanding my lashes. The brush expands and contracts. Watch this. Well, I hope you guys can see this. Look, watch. Look, I shorten it and then I lengthen it. What magic is this? That's kind of cool. Like, I don't really get the purpose, except for maybe to fit, like, to get like more of a dense application. That's pretty cool. Okay, so I think it's a pretty standard mascara. It definitely lengthened. I got a really good color out of it. It makes my lashes look long. It's really pretty. As you guys know, I don't really tend to wear false lashes too often, so this is like a really good like middle ground for me. So I'm just gonna blot on this piece of paper, because trashy. I'm gonna blot my lipstick to see if it transfers. Yeah, that came right off. So note that this is a lipstick that transfers. That being said, the color is beautiful. The more I was thinking about it when I was putting on the mascara, the more I realized that colors like this shade, tend to not go on very opaque, tend to be patchy, tend to pull, tend to not look like as just beautifully applied as this does. So I'm thrilled with this, to be quite honest. I think the color is fantastic, but the pigmentation is gorgeous. And it's not getting all over my teeth. It actually makes my teeth look really white, which I'm in approval of because I need to get my teeth white in that time. But it's really, really beautiful. Okay guys, so that is it for me. I hope you enjoyed this kind of first impressions of Canadian owned makeup brands. I hope you liked it as much as I enjoyed putting it together for you. This was a fun one for me because being Canadian, it's not often that I get to like just focus on Canadian stuff. So yeah, I'm really, really thrilled. I think my next trip back home, I'm getting more of these LISE WATIER pots. They're outstanding. They had like 8 or 10 colors, so I'm really excited to try more of those. I'm gonna see how often I reach for this bronzer. It's a little weird. Okay guys, so that is it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed putting it together for you and you saw something that you liked. It was really cool to do something focusing on Canadian companies. Made me feel like I was attached to my roots or something. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss anything, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Okay guys, so I hope you're enjoying Makeup Monday so far. I know I am. It's been real fun. But if you want to get back to fashion stuff, that's all good. Click this right here. This is a playlist of all of my try-on hauls, and here's a lookbook that I did. I think you'll like this one, and then hit subscribe. It's right here. I'll see you next time.